Welcome back to Building the Pride. I'm your host, Drew, and it's draft day. And I am one of those Detroit Lions fans that's just full of dread when it comes to this draft. Okay, Mike has somehow changed my name on this thing. Here we go. Save. There we go. Just Drew. So we did our 6-man mock, and the Lions went with, I believe it was, I want to say it was Caden Proctor, and then we traded up in the second round for Colton Hood. I can double check on that one. But it was a good draft. I thought it was a lot of fun. Had a really good time with everybody. I'm excited. But, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm 40. Hey, what's up, Donkey Kong? I'm in my 40s now. And when I was a kid, I would get excited. I would feel excitement when I was watching sports or watching, things that I enjoyed. I would get excited by them, right? And now it's like I feel relief, like when when they're over, or like when we know the outcome of something. So it's less about getting hyped up, I think, than it is about just like figuring out what the way the world is going to work for the foreseeable future. And so I guess today I'm just kind of interested in like what other people are hoping goes on during the draft. Like, are you hoping that the Lions trade up, trade down? Do you want them to stick and pick? Do you want them to get a tackle, an edge? Do you think that Brad Holmes will go so far off the script that we couldn't possibly see it coming? Do you are you excited about other things in the draft, like what? Oh, like I'm crazy to understand like what's going to happen at 2. Is it David Bailey or Arvell Reese? Like, which way are the Jets going to go? Like, do you like to bet on the draft? Do you like to do the prop bets? Do you like hoping for an OT either at 17 or trade down? So let me ask you this, Donkey Kong, because this seems to be a pretty popular topic of discussion, both at my job and with people that I know that follow football. Do you think that, let's say, I'll give you 2 scenarios. They draft Caden Proctor, they play him at left tackle, Penei stays on the right. Or they draft any of the right tackles and Penei moves to left. Do you think that the offensive line in right away, year 1 of this rookie tackle, either side of the line, is going to improve so significantly that it's going to look like what people had expected the Lions line to play like, say, in 2024, 2023? Like, is this rookie going to come in, whoever it is, it could be any of them, day 1, and make the line a top 10 unit in the NFL again? Do you think that is going to happen? Is that what you are hoping by wanting an offensive tackle in round 1? Because the way that I see it, it's going to be a year of that player acclimating, and then in year 2, hoping for that kind of jump. So I'm just curious what your line of thinking is. So I think that it would be fantastic, whoever the Lions pick. Hey. Interesting, Detroit fan, man. Oh, by the way, good to see you today. Woke up convinced Brad would get his favorite offensive tackle. Then I saw the Risdon video this morning with a juicy rumor to trade up for a preferred defensive end. Not who exactly, And that would be wild. Well, let me go see if I can find this particular video. Off to Twitter it is. I will never call it X. Let's search for our good buddy Jeff here. Now, is he Detroit Free Press? Let's see. Where is this video? Come on, Jeff. I see one here from April 22nd, Detroit Lions podcast. Interesting. Oh, here we go. I saw it on YouTube, Detroit Lions podcast. I think with how bad Decker was last year, it should be similar or better. The biggest jump should come from an improved center, okay, improved right guard, and we're praying for improved left guard at this point. Okay, so I can get on board with that take. So let me ask you this about the interior of the offensive line. Is there a reason why? Oh, thank you so much, Fan Man. Donkey Kong, is there a reason why you feel that Ratledge is more in line for a step forward than, say, Mahogany? So, because in my opinion, Christian Mahogany in his rookie season played 2 games, and then he played 11, I think, last season. He has not even played a full season's worth of games yet. So both he and Ratledge, I think, have played right around the same number of games. So what happens if they both take a step forward? And then as a follow-up, like if you look at PFF grades, which some people are just not a fan of, and PFF is largely a defunct business at this point, but Glasgow only scored 5 points lower than Cade Mays last year as a PFF overall grade as a center. So my question is, you must view Cade Mays as a significant improvement over Graham Glasgow, and my question is, where do you see the difference? I don't know, because I can't effectively gauge offensive lineman play. Daily DLP final Lions mock draft roundup. All right, 1 second. Daily DLP final mock draft roundup. Okay. Okay, I found it. Do you have it? Okay, I hate to do this to you, Fan Man, because you've been super helpful thus far. Do you have any idea where in the video? It's a 20-minute video. Do you have Oh, but I'll give you a time. Oh, you're already doing it. It starts at 11 minutes. Jesus Christ, you're way in front of me. You should have your own podcast, man. If they both take a step up, our lives are going to be super amazing. Cade will play better now that he's coached. Now he's coached better. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Well, that would be great. I hope that you're right. Let me see if I can timestamp this thing here. All right. Minute 11. Here we go. Let's watch it together. Now, I don't know. We don't normally do like things like this where there's audio coming through. So I'm gonna mute mine. Does that make it any better? Yeah. And then I'm going to start playing the video at minute 11, and I hope the sound will come through. Let me know if the sound does not come through.
That the day before the draft, and told me that they were moving up to Terrion Arnold. I believed him then. I did not believe him last year. He told me that the Lions are very aggressively looking to move up, and it's not for an offensive lineman. And I said, oh, they're going to get Caleb Downs. He's like, not so fast. It's a specific scenario that he laid out to me, and I shared it with Russ Brown. I also shared it with somebody who doesn't cover the Lions, who I trust. And it's all timestamped, so you can check this stuff out. But it would be them moving into the top 7 and taking an edge. And if that happens, it's great. And I'm of the opinion, by the way, I was on with Woodward Sports with Sean Belegian, who I freaking love. I owe Sean a lot for giving me my radio career effectively. Thank you, Sean. And shared with him, teased at it of what it could be. And as I said there, as I told Sean and the crew, I don't expect it to happen, but I'm not going to be surprised if it happens. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Now, my overarching philosophy, and this is me talking about moving up versus moving back. I'm going to talk about this a little bit on Woodward too, but I'll expand upon it here. What have we heard about the 2026 NFL draft for months? Draft. Not great at the top. It's not deep. Draft really falls off after about 150, 160. I want to move up within reason. I don't want more picks in this draft. It's a bad draft. I certainly don't want more day 3 picks. God, no. They're not making the team anyways. There's not that many spots. There just aren't. You can get guys in to compete for spots. If you're drafting a cornerback in the 5th round, is it realistic that he's going to beat out Rock Ya-Sin to be the number 4 cornerback this year? And when you're picking him in the 170s? I would hope not. Otherwise, why in the world would you sign Rock Ya-Sin, right? So I don't want to move back and get extra picks. Well, he's got extra picks this year.
Okay, so Fanman, does he go on to lay out any more specifics about the actual trade up? Because if not, we're mostly done here. Yeah, good call. Okay. All right, let's look at what that might look like. So if we traded into the top 7, what would that cost? What would that look like? Let's run a scenario. Okay. So we've chosen Detroit. So who do you guys think that he's talking about? There's only one guy that I can think of that would make sense. And that's Bain from Miami. So who do you think that he's talking about? Are we talking about if David Bailey falls? Or Arvell Reese falls? This is very interesting. Thank you, Fanman. This has been great. You've had some wonderful suggestions. Speaking of which, Mock Draft Hero, love this site. Okay, so there goes Bailey. Well, I got to start over. Okay, we're going to start, and we'll stop it at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here are this. I think this looks, you know what? Okay, I'm going to stop it after the Giants pick here. Okay, Sonny Styles. So Cleveland, there's 2 teams in the top 10 that have been wildly rumored to want to be trading down, and that is both Arizona and Cleveland. I think Cleveland is sitting in like one of the worst spots for any team in this draft. Like, they are too high for the types of players that they need, and the types of players that they need should not be drafted at 6. The only one that I could think of that makes any sense is Carnell Tate. So let's take a look here just real quick. So let's say we're going to trade up to 6. I'm just going to use the Jimmy Johnson trade value chart, the original one. I think that Brad has used that one in the past to like align his picks with other GMs. So that's why I'm going to use this one. So the Cleveland's pick is worth 1,600 points, we're going to try and make it relatively even. So if Detroit's pick is worth 950 points, so you have to make up 650 points. The 50th pick is worth 400 points, which means that you are looking at trading a future pick in order to make up the difference. So if you go, I'm thinking what this trade would look like is something like, we will trade you our first this year and our first next year to move up to 6. Let's look at what the website thinks that it would look like. So if we wanted to move up, we would trade so we would get their pick and a 4th rounder, and then they would get our first and second pick this year and our second next year. That feels cheap. So if you guys were the GM of the Detroit Lions, let me ask you 2 scenarios. Would you trade a 1 and next year's 1 to get to 6? Or would you trade this trade here that the website is offering? Because I would so much rather do the trade the website is offering than a 1 and a 1. But I think like a 1 and a 1. And if you're Cleveland and Detroit says, we'll give you the 17th pick and our 1 next year, is that enough for you to move out of 6? Even if you want to, is that enough to move out of 6? I mean, like, would it have to be like Detroit is the only team looking to trade up and you have no other suitors in order to move out for what they're asking in either of these 2 scenarios, the one I proposed or the one the website proposed? I just think it's insane. Like Cleveland would be giving a discount, in my opinion, to move out for either one of those scenarios. So I'll accept this one that the website's offering here. Okay, so now, first of all, the first thing I want to look at is if we were to trade out of this pick. Okay, so listen. So let me ask you this. Here's a pick. New England would want to trade up from 31 to 6, right? So if you were the Lions and you knew this, I would do this fucking trade 1,000 times out of 1,000 times. Hey, I'll move up from 17 to 6. I'll give up 2 future seconds. So I'm up a 4th round pick. And then I can trade back to 31. I get my 2nd round pick back and I get a future first. So in this scenario, I'm down 1 2nd round pick, but I'm up a 4th rounder and a 1st rounder next year. And I bet we get one of the right tackles at that pick. I'm not going to do this, obviously, because we're doing this to thing, but that's just nuts, right? So let's just look at edges, because that's what Risdon said they were looking to trade up for. You are looking at, I think that you're realistically looking at one guy, but the other guy is on the Lions board. So you're looking to trade up for Ruben Bain. So, my opinion, pairing Ruben Bain with Aiden Hutchinson, something I'm very interested in. I'm very interested in that. Bain, from what I can tell, is a pass rusher who utilizes power, and I think that would fit with the crush the pocket type of player that the Lions seem to want across from Aiden. Let's see. Bain is praised for his explosive first step and the versatility to disrupt plays from multiple techniques on both even and odd fronts. His primary draft profile strengths are his relentless motor and interior power, which often overwhelm collegiate offensive linemen. Okay. 6'2", 263. He does kind of fit that. Well, it's not exactly a perfect fit. So I guess he doesn't really fit like the Marcus Davenport height, weight, speed profile. 6'2", 263. He has short arms. Didn't seem to matter much this year in college. So the Lions would be betting on his arm length not mattering, right? I like this player. I would be thrilled. The other guy, Keldrick Falk from Auburn, 21, 6'6", 276, way more in line with what the Lions have wanted across from Aiden Hutchinson thus far in the team's roster reconstruction. 34 and 3/8 inch arms. Just so, what is that? Just under 4 inches longer. Jesus Christ. Falk's draft profile highlights his exceptional length and elite ability to set the edge against the run as a primary strength. However, scouts view him as a somewhat raw prospect in terms of pass rushing technique, noting that he needs to develop a more diverse set of counter moves to complement natural power. So they're both power rushers. One dude fits in line with what the Detroit Lions have wanted to put in that spot for the last 5 years. One guy doesn't. The guy that doesn't fit has been super productive. The guy that does fit has not been as productive. So, are the Lions rumored to be trading up for a player in Bain whose draft position has slipped slightly, and he could be there, and they're worried that Washington might take him? Or are they trading up for what they think is the definitive example of the player that they want across from Aiden Hutchinson? But if they are trading up for Falk, that is, we are planning for the future. And if you are trading up for Bain, that is, we are going right now. So I have no idea which one it is. I'm leaning toward Falk, to be honest. I mean, he fits with what we know the Lions have wanted. And Brad Holmes has made almost zero moves that would indicate that he is, quote unquote, we need to go right now. We need to go right now. You know, so like this would be a pretty, I'm going to draft Keldrick Falk here. So if the Lions trade up for Keldrick Falk, who's the consensus board would say should be there when they pick at 17, I guess the conversation is Brad so worried? If Brad Holmes is an excellent drafter, why can he not sit at 17 and find value at that pick? Why is it required of him to trade up? So I think that he has traded up 8 times in the last 2 drafts, something like that. I mean, I don't understand why we can't just sit and pick. I mean, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting no matter what, right? So here's what Cleveland picks up. Ooh, Dominic Orange. That's a nice pick. Oh, that's really interesting. But like you are making 1 pick on day 2. And now they have 3 picks in round 4, right? So if we get 3 picks in round 4, we're not talking about starters anymore. We are talking about backup players or positions of low value that could fight for a starting spot. I don't believe we needed to trade up to top 7 for Falk. Yeah, exactly. Why does he need to move up 10 spots? Now I'm feeling that anxiety before Leafy talked to him. You know, I have conversations with people who are Lions fans, like diehard Lions fans, right? And I think that they would look at any move up as something that it's like, oh yeah, crushing it. Like we're going to get our guy. He's a Lion. And like, I think that Keldrick Falk fits as much the mentality, mindset, work ethic, all the grit index stuff, he fits that when it comes to like what Detroit looks for in a player. Does that mean that he's going to be successful? I mean, so many people, I think, like equate he's got grit to future success. Those two things are in lockstep with one another. And I'll tell you, people that work hard and are talented usually find success, right? So it does not seem to be like a crazy theory by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so here we are with our first pick in round 4, and there are some guys on the table that I think that we could take that are going to be excellent players for us. Like, so first things first, Oscar Delp, 6'5", 245. I could see this guy becoming, I think that he could immediately replace Shane Zylstra as tight end 3 on the roster. And like, I think that he has like the best possible future for him. You know, if he realizes his talent, he could become tight end number 1 for Detroit if Sam Laporta is not the same player that he was after his back surgery. But with Drew Petzing coming in, like, this makes a lot of sense. Like, let's start building out that tight end room. Let's do some of the things that like Drew Petzing is known for. It makes sense. Oh, Sam Roush is still on the board. I made a mistake. Sam Roush is a Detroit Lion. Don't take Chandler Rivers. Fuck, they took him. Oh, no, they didn't. Yay. So I'm going to take Chandler Rivers here. So 5'9", 185. So already people are, I mean, I've heard he's too small to play in the NFL. But he's one of those plays above his size type of players that the Lions seem to really like. Displays elite coverage instincts, quick transition, and has the ability to consistently shut down his side of the field, surrendering only 13 completions all year in 2024. And that's something that I think that we're gonna hear a lot in like draft coverage this later today. Is so many of these prospects had such a better 2024 than they did a 2025 season. Starting in the first round and all the way through the end of it. So we've taken Oscar Delp when I should have taken Sam Roush. So that's my mistake. I still think Oscar Delp will be a good player. Ooh, this is interesting. Let's see. Let's just take a look here. Yes. Okay, so this kid, Brian Parker, played left tackle at Duke, but he is converting to a center. Earlier in his career, he rotated in and provided depth, but his growth in technique and confidence allowed him to earn a snap share and trust of the coaching staff. Parker's versatility to line up at multiple spots along the interior and edge is a strength, though continued refinement in foot speed and recovery against high-end athletes will determine his ceiling at the next level. So this guy's converting to center, as is this other player down here from Texas A&M, Trey Zune. They are both left tackles in college who are converting to centers in the NFL, and I'm here for it. Like, you have Cade Mays, fine. Cade Mays, you have him for 3 years. I don't think Cade Mays is so good that you can't have a backup plan, especially in round 4, right? So here's Brian Parker and Trey Zune. They both have good size. They have experience playing tackle at the collegiate level, and they are converting to center. So you can keep them playing center, and like in worst case scenarios, they have the ability to fill in at your tackle spots. So I really like that kind of when it's those two positions that share a skill base. So I'm pretty excited to draft Brian Parker here at 10. Brendan Thompson's an absolute speed demon. We could draft a linebacker in Deontay Lawson. He's very, very small for a will linebacker. He's known as the defensive signal caller, showcasing high football IQ, good athleticism, and reliable tackling ability. His primary weaknesses is a concern over his durability and need to improve technique when shedding blocks. Like the durability concerns are the problem for me. So I'm going to take Parker here. I think so. I think we're in round 5. Yep. So but if the Lions pulled off the kind of move that Risdon is predicting, are you going to be happy? If you're like, we only have 1 pick on days 1 and 2, and then we're going to draft a bunch of guys on day 3, like, is that something that you're like, okay, this is the direction Detroit needs to move in? So remember, in this scenario, we've also given up our 2nd round pick next year. So let's look at who we've taken. We took Keldrick Falk. We took Oscar Delp. We took 2 guys from Duke. Chandler Rivers, Brian Parker. We have not taken an offensive lineman, which in this scenario, that would also mean that the Lions are comfortable with Larry Borom being the right tackle on this team. So what about a guy like J.C. Davis? 34-inch arms, huge hands. Played at New Mexico and then transferred to Illinois. I don't know. Like, if you're drafting offensive linemen, are you drafting them to be backups? I would say not. We could use a linebacker. I don't know. I just don't think that if you're taking an offensive lineman in round 5 and he's just the kind of guy that goes in round 5, and it's not like, oh, he was hurt or he had to sit out or, this reason. By the way, this linebacker, Red Murdoch, you might want to keep an eye on him. He's from Buffalo, and like, I watched like a brief highlight package of his. Man, if that kid plays like that in the NFL, he's going to be an absolute dude. So on draft night, I won't be happy with less picks before day 3. But if Falk Bain is even close to Defensive Rookie of the Year, and because of him, our defenses improve, I'll be quite whelmed. First of all, I love that joke. Like, everyone always says that you're overwhelmed or whatever, but no one ever, or underwhelmed, but you're never just whelmed. It's never just normal amount of whelming. So like, I think so. Congratulations on that joke. That was excellent. I really appreciate the humor there. So, I won't be happy with less picks before day 3. So, but if if you're not going to be happy with less picks before day 3, so then that means you're not comfortable if Brad were to give up, say, next year's 1 to move up, because then we would still have the same amount of picks, right? But if you're going to give up picks, like basically you're saying our 2nd rounder, if we're going to trade our 1st and 2nd rounder this year to move up, then, so like, by the way, our 1st round, let's see, pick 50 is worth 400 points. So 1350. So we technically the Lions could trade up. If they traded our 1st and 2nd round pick, they could trade up to 9 or 10 and basically be around the same amount of value. So we just took J.C. Davis is still on the board. Hilarious. I'm going to take Kalen Black. Like, I mean, I just don't think that Isaiah Pacheco is the kind of guy that's like, if let's say what's his name, Gibbs tweaks a hamstring and he's out for a month. Like, I don't think that the offense looks the same by any stretch of the imagination with Isaiah Pacheco in there. Like, it seems like a day 3 pick on a running back with some experience and size would be completely appropriate. Okay, I'm going to take this kid Kevin Coleman because like he's a good punt returner. There's also a kid from Iowa in this draft class that I wouldn't mind using like our 7th round pick on. Let's see if I can see him right here. Iowa filter by. Why can I not filter by? Nope. I would love to be able to filter by school. I can't see that. He's from Iowa. It's not TJ Hall. It's this kid, Caden Wetjen. 5'9", 193. He ran a 4.47 40. But this kid is like electric when it comes to like returning kicks. Like I would absolutely use like a 6th or 7th round pick on a guy that like if he is as good at returning kicks in the pros as he is in college, this dude's worth a day 3 pick. That's the exact kind of guy. I'll just take him anyways. Like we got one more pick at 222. I basically drafted a punt returner and a kick returner in this draft. Don't yell at me. This Justin Jefferson kid. I'll take this corner because why not? So, I mean, I'm going to do another scenario here in a second, but like we'll do a trade up, a stick and pick, and we'll do a trade down, right? And we'll just take a look at how those differ from one another. Twee. All right, so let's take a look at this overall here. So like if this is the Detroit Lions draft this weekend, tell me if you're happy. So you trade up to number 6 to draft Keldrick Falk. You give up your 2nd rounder this year, your 2nd rounder next year. So now our next pick is in round 4. We have 3 4th round picks. We take a tight end, a corner, and basically a backup center with tackle experience. And then starting in round 5, we take a will linebacker to compete with Rodrigo for that spot, our 3rd string running back, a punt returner, a kick returner, and a dude that probably doesn't make the roster as a cornerback because we don't know what the dudes that we took in last year's draft, whether or not they're any good or not yet still. So, oh shit, stop, restart. Okay. So here we go. This is the stick and pick draft. Well, they take downs. Interesting. Okay, so we can take Jeremiah Love. Now, here, let me ask you this, because this is something that I cannot seem to stop myself from pointing out every fucking time this happens. If the Detroit Lions are a team that believes in taking the best player available, they should take Jeremiah Love here, right? Like, not only is he considered to be the best running back in this class, he is considered to be, by some, the best player in this draft, regardless of position. So if you are a best player available team, then Jeremiah Love is the no-brainer, completely accepted pick for the Detroit Lions, right? It's very clearly not right? So what are your thoughts on between Freeling and Proctor? Like Proctor, they both have issues. So like which issue is easier to overcome? Like if you were to draw up a left tackle like in the laboratory, it's Monroe Freeling. Right? But the dude has like 10 games that he's played. Like it's just not a lot of experience. He has exceptional reach, mobility and pass protection, and road grading power in the running game. While he has proven to be a reliable starter at left, he also offers significant versatility, having started in multiple positions along the line in the 2024 season. but he has played. He is 21, and I think that he has played. This was his only season as a starter. So, are you guys comfortable with? Are you more are you comfortable with taking a guy who doesn't have a ton of experience, but has every trait that would make you think that he would be successful in the NFL? Or would you take a guy that has played left tackle for 3 years, like Caden Proctor, but has issues that might be more difficult to like manage, like his weight, like developing his foot speed, like that kind of thing? I kind of feel like I could argue either side of the Freeling Proctor debate, and I'm cool with either. This is mostly why I don't believe in trading up, but this DE rumor ruined my plans. And I think a lot of people feel that way. I'll just take Freeling here. So I'm almost wondering if like Brad Holmes has some kind of like low key addiction to trading up. And I'm only like 50% kidding when I say that. Like, is he capable of just staying at one spot and making a pick? Does he feel like he has to trade up in order to get value? Okay, so I just think that this kid Traden Stukes is going to be so good. The Lions have traditionally, and like, let's go back and take a look at not Proctor, Monroe Freeling. He has a 9.99 RAS score. Now, we've had the dude that does the RAS scores on our show before and talked to him about like what they mean, what they project, that kind of stuff. Where are you on the over under 4 point? I don't think that he has enough bullets in the gun to make 4 trade ups. If he's going to make 4 trade ups, you're trading future picks. So, and you're trading future picks at multiple spots, because if you trade up once and you have to make you have to throw in a future pick, like that doesn't leave you any more room with what your current assets are. Total trades, okay. Either one, I would say under. Although, like, I think that 2020, so last year he traded up for. Wait, he did not trade up for Tyleek, right? He traded up for He traded up for Ratledge. He traded up for Tesla. And then I can't remember him trading again. But in 2023, he traded down. He traded out of 6. He traded up to get Branch. He traded up to get Hooker. Was that the same? Was that the Broderick Martin year as well? He traded up to get Martin. And then in so that was 24. 24 was Terrion Arnold. He traded up to get Arnold. He didn't trade up for Rakestraw. So then he traded up in the 3rd for Martin. That was 24, right? And then 24 was also the Giovanni Manu and Sione Vaki. I'm going to say under. I would actually put money on under. I'm going to take Traden Stukes here. We just don't know. We just don't know what Kirby Joseph looks like. And even if he does, like, even if Kirby comes back 100% healthy and he can just manage the pain, that's wonderful. It's good for Kirby Joseph. It's good for the Detroit Lions. If he can't, they are not comfortable with Borum at any tackle. This will be an OT in round 1. So let me ask you this, Donkey Kong. The Lions have shown that they are not comfortable with paying starters certain amounts of money at certain positions. So let me give you an example. They were comfortable paying Alex Anzalone $7 million a year, but when Tampa Bay paid him $8.5 million a year, they made no effort to re-sign him. They were not comfortable with paying Zadarius Smith like $5.5 million a year, and they cut him because that's right around what he was making to play opposite Aiden Hutchinson. Could you imagine if Brad just goes Borum and Manu? Borum gets hurt for like 4 weeks, and oh my God, his head would be cut off. He would be sacrificed. Jesus Christ, dude. So let me ask you this. Like, do you think that Brad Holmes is so confident in the players that he's picked, regardless of how well they're developing? Like, because he's cut Broderick Martin, right? Like, Broderick Martin didn't do it. Like, I don't believe that Giovanni Manu will make the 53-man roster. So like, I think the way that I think this will probably go is they do go tackle in round 1, and Borum is your new Dan Skipper. But they gave Borum $5 million, not a vet minimum. They gave him $5 million, and like, I think when it comes to Brad Holmes, I think that you should look at $5 million as he thinks that starter caliber money. I think if there is somebody that you're paying a shit ton of money to at like a paired position, so like Penny's making like $28 or $32 million a year, we're going to have the other guy across from him make $5 million. I think that Brad thinks that that's how you do business. Did you do a scenario trading a 4th and 5th to get into the bottom of the 3rd? No, I have not. We can try that with our next one. Sure, absolutely. Let's make this pick, and we'll get through this one. I'm just going to take Sam Roush here. But that's a good suggestion, Donkey Kong. Okay, let's move through these picks relatively quickly here. I'm going to take, in this one, I'll take Trey Zune. This guy's name, Ephesians Prysock, that is a name. That is an absolute 10 out of 10 name. So, let's see. Our last 4th round pick is 128. That's 44. We have pick 181. Plus 28. So 44 plus 28. 64, 70. So I don't believe that trading just a 4th and a 5th rounder will be enough to get us into the back end of the 3rd round. I'm going to take Katron Allen here. I don't believe in Nick Singleton. I like Katron Allen better. So he's RB3. Yeah, I'll be interested to see where this kid Red Murdoch from Buffalo goes. He's kind of caught my attention here as like a day 3 kind of guy. I'm going to take Michael. Well, who have I taken so far? Freeling, Stukes, Roush, Zune, Allen. Okay, so what else do we need here? CB, tight end, OT. So that's a lot of offensive guys. I'm going to take Caden Curry as a situational pass rusher. Like maybe this guy could end up being like Al-Qadim Muhammad was, right? Like those kinds of snaps. Somebody like, so let's say they take Falk, or they do this trade up for Falk or Bain, and on day 3 they take Caden Curry. Like I think that you would move Falk or Bain inside to one of the defensive tackle positions, like in a NASCAR type of lineup, and you bring in like a designated pass rusher type. Talking banger names, nicknames in this class, do you think that Uar Bernard, the Nigerian Nightmare, is drafted? The guy has 0 football, but that athletic profile is insane. So like if Brad Holmes wants to take a developmental, like a truly developmental player, then I don't mind him using like 6th and 7th round picks on kids like Ahmad Hassanein and Bernard, right? Like if you have a dude with that kind, like Bernard's athletic profile is literally, you don't like the F draft with Falk. So if Jeff Risdon is being given accurate information about what Brad's plans are, you're going to really have a tough night. I'm going to take Jimmy Rolder here as just like a special teamer / guy that can play linebacker. He went to Michigan. I like him. Sorry if that's a homer pick. I try not to make homer picks. I'm going to take this Kazmarek kid from Ohio State. Like, if the Lions tight end room is Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, Sam Roush, Will Kazmarek next year, that is going to be fucking crazy. Like, play 13 personnel all day long. Maybe Donkey is a Bane lever. Oh, that's interesting. He's not. He is a offensive tackle believer. Well, there's not a lot of. This guy's arm length is insane. Eric Gentry. Let's see his arms. 35-inch arms as a 6'7", 221-pound linebacker. Like, to be honest, like, his arms are so long. I watched Michigan play against USC this year, and they highlighted that kid. Like, his arms are so long that, like, if he were to reach out and try and tackle somebody, I'm surprised they don't just snap in half. Where is that Nigerian kid, by the way? What's his name? Bernard? Yeah, okay, we'll take this kid. International pathway player from Nigeria who does not have collegiate football stats, as he was discovered while playing basketball 3 years ago. He recently gained significant attention at the HBCU showcase for his rare explosiveness. So that's historically black colleges, right? HBC. Highlighted by a 39-inch vertical and a 10-foot, 10-inch broad jump. Analysts describe him as an elite athletic prospect with extraordinary movement skills for a player of his physical stature. His primary weakness is a total lack of organized game experience. Oh, shit. So this was our draft. Freeling, Stukes, Roush, Zune, Katron Allen, Caden Curry, Rolder, Will Kazmarek, and Uar Bernard, which I think would be a pretty interesting draft, all things considered. His primary weakness is a total lack of organized game experience, as he spent his developmental time training rather than playing in a traditional college system. This makes him a unique upside development project with a steep learning curve regarding football IQ and technique. The only downside that I really see with this kid is that he would take up a roster spot. You have to keep him on the 53-man roster, otherwise he's eligible to go to any team in the NFL. You know, so like that's the only thing. So if you wanted to play like, which is fine because the Lions use their practice squad as an extension of the roster. So I mean, like you could keep him as the 53rd guy on the actual roster, and then still have your practice squad elevation. Look at a photo of that behemoth. He's like a 5% body. I heard that you could see his abs on like when he did like the high jump or whatever. Like he's just let's look up a picture of him. He's an IPP, so he gets a free roster. Oh, that's right. That's the same thing that happened to Asinine, right? Oh, good point, fan man. So yeah, I mean that's as free as it gets. Let's see. Uar Bernard. Images. Oh shit. All right, let's stop sharing that screen. Look at this dude. Can you guys see this? I haven't added it to the thing. Look at this guy. He's how tall? He absolutely has a six-pack. Holy shit. 6'4.5", and he looks like this? What position would he even play? 6'4.5", 306. I mean, his body doesn't really look like it's got much additional space to put on more weight, right? Like, so I don't think that he's going to get much heavier than that. I would love to know how he moves, right? Like that would be, he's some kind of lineman at that size. Why not just play him at end? Why not just have him be a big end? Like a Josh Paschal-esque kind of guy. That's insane. That's like legit insane. But like, you know, not a lot of people who don't play football end up making it in the NFL, unfortunately. Okay, so this is our trade down draft, and we're going to try and trade back into the bottom end of the third round. So some other things to just keep on your mind tonight that I've heard. Oh, I haven't shared the thing back. Oh, there we go. Jermod McCoy, the corner from Sonny Styles went 10. He there is another issue with his knee outside of the ACL that could be degenerative. So that may cause him to slip. Maui Agoa has a potential back issue that he may require surgery for, which could cause him to miss, I've heard 3 months, which would put him right around like the start of training camp. And so both of those guys are right now like possible slips in the draft just because of uncertainty around their health. Okay, so here we go. Dallas wants to move up 3 spots. We've traded with them a couple of times before. I think a couple of times. We can move down 3 spots. We pick up a 4th and a 7th. Philadelphia comes up. We give up our 2nd, 4th round pick. We pick up a 3rd round pick. And then the Jets, we can trade out of round 1 and we pick up two twos. So we would pick 3 times in round 2. And guys, I got to tell you, I'm really here for the New York offer. I am here for the get out of the first round. I don't give a shit about the 5th-year contract. Show me the number of guys that are actually playing on their 5th-year contracts. I mean, it is an asset that people overhype, I feel. It's a guaranteed contract, so it all comes off the top of your cap. It's just there to say you can pick it up and use it to leverage against a player to sign an extension. Which I don't know. I mean, if you're on good terms, why don't you just sign them earlier and not have to pick up their 5th year? I just don't. People treat it like a tiny franchise tag. So, are you guys going to be mad at me if I trade to 33? Because I really want to do that. So, this pick from Dallas, this kind of trade is there all day. For any team in the middle to the bottom half of the first round. Same thing with Philly. 33 and 44. So we would pick 3 times in the top half of the 2nd round. I'm going to do it for science, right? Let's just do this for science. He's never played any position. No, so it's can't. So let's try and trade as many times as we can in the 2nd and 3rd round of this draft, right? So this is a bad draft, right? Let's put that to the test. Okay, so we're gonna trade with the Jets. Oh, and they take Jeremiah Love. There goes Freeling. There goes Proctor. Let's speed this up a little bit. We got a lot of picks to make. There goes Blake Miller. That's not good. There goes a Honicher. There goes Lomu. Ooh, this worked out very, very badly for us. Okay, interesting. So we're going to pick at 33, then we're going to pick at 44, then we're going to pick at 50. So if we take at 33, we could take Malachi Lawrence or Zion Young. And then at 44, we could be looking at guys like Jacob Rodriguez, Gabe Yakis, Keelan Rutledge. And then at 50, we could be looking at Yakis or Stukes, Lee Hunter. So, or, I mean, we could. I'll tell you what. Like, if they took Caden McDonald right here, I think that would help Jack Campbell so much. Like a true nose. I don't know what you do with Tyleik Williams, so I don't think that that's going to happen. Wow, there was a lot of tackles that came off the draft in the bottom half of the first round. So at 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 came off in the bottom 16 picks. Chris Johnson might be an interesting pick here. 6 foot, 190. We do not have a lockdown corner, in my opinion. We will not get, I think, either Zion Young or Malachi Lawrence at 44. So 44. Jacob Rodriguez. Do I have to overdraft an edge rusher here? I'm going to take Lawrence. There goes Johnson. That's a shame. There goes Young. There goes Yakis. We could take Avian Terrell. We could take Jacob Rodriguez. I'm leaning toward Rodriguez here. Because I could get Stukes or I could get Keontae Scott at 50, perhaps. There goes Terrell. There goes Pons. Okay, so Caleb Banks has re-injured his foot. He has a stress fracture in his foot. Otherwise, he could be a first rounder that I think is dropping. So do I want Stukes or do I want Scott? Well, Stukes is rated higher, so I'll take Stukes. Okay, so this is our round 2. So we want to try and trade. So who are we looking at here? Who are we looking at here in round 3 that we would trade back into the round 4? So we want to look at players like in the 80s and 90s. Jayshawn Barham, he's another defensive guy. Maybe there's an interior alignment. Jake Slaughter, Markel Bell, maybe as a huge tackle. He is enormous. Brian Parker. Okay, so let's see. We would be looking for I'm going to say Max Clare, Connor Liu, Jayshawn Barham, and Markel Bell are the guys that we're looking at potentially moving back up for. So there goes Scott. Oh, Tiernan was still on the board. That was a mistake. Okay. All right, so let's pause this at 80. Okay, so Claire, Lou, they're still on the board. Barham still on the board. This guy would be a Derek Barnes kind of replacement. All right, so let's let it go 5 picks. 1, 2. There goes Lou. There goes Claire. Okay. So now what does it look like here? Barham, Bell, I'm going to let it go 5 more picks, then I'm going to make a trade. 4, 5, pause. All right, trade. We would have to give up both 4th rounders and a 7th rounder to move up to 91. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to take this kid, Markel Bell, 6'9", 346, 36 and 3/8-inch arms. The guy has enormous. He doesn't have huge hands, 9-inch hands. Exceptionally long arms, wingspan of over 87 inches. Full-time starting left tackle for Miami. Let's see. He was a JUCO transfer. Primary strengths include his massive physical frame and natural mobility, which makes him formidable against speed rushers. Good. We have a pretty good speed rusher in the north in Micah Parsons. While technically sound, he can occasionally struggle with leverage against smaller, more compact interior defenders. So I don't know. I just think that this guy would be a pretty good guy to snag right here. Donkey Kong, let me know what you think, man. So we don't pick until round 5 or maybe even round 6 now. While we're doing this, I'm going to scan Twitter to see if there's been any more chatter about the Lions moving up. Oh my God, Mina Kimes is beyond gorgeous. Not seeing let's see. Here's something from Eric Schlitt has a tweet. Let's read this real quickly. Started, so this is from Nick Saban, started complimenting the Alabama left tackle, then rolled into this. The issue with him is he's not a bad person. He'll do whatever you ask him to once you get him in the building, but when he's not in the building, he might get a little overweight. He might not come in the best shape. And those are the things you have to manage with him. But I think they're manageable. He's not exactly a self-starter who will get in great shape and come into camp like you want him. But if you can get him to come to camp once you got him there, you can get him ready to go. So I don't think that's a huge negative for the guy. I know, and then he says, I know Saban meant all this as a positive, but hearing this stuff keeps me speculative on how he'd mesh with the Lions culture. So sorry, I just gotta. So like the first comment on this post was, did Jameson Williams not wind up meshing with Lions culture despite questions coming out of Bama? What questions were there coming out of Bama about Jameson Williams? The only thing that was questions about Jameson Williams was whether or not his knee was okay. Take Katron Allen here. Oh, I should have taken Corleone. Let's see. I don't believe Brad will trade up, but that's the fun of watching. Stands pat and takes an OT to save his job. His job is in no danger at all. His job is in zero danger. 100% fine. Carver Willis. That's a cool name. I'm going to take this kid, Jeff Caldwell, from because he has a 9.99 RAS score, and there's no other reason. Okay, we're back on the clock. I'm going to take this kid, Red Murdoch, from he only has a 6.82 in RAS, 6.82 RAS. He has elite diagnostic skills and an exceptional ability to disrupt ball security. So he's a turnover generator. Yeah, sign me up. And he won. So, like, I've had drafts, like mocks, where we took guys who were supposedly good at creating turnovers. So guys like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Jacob Rodriguez. Like, and I think that if the Lions wanted to, they could tailor a draft around taking impact defensive players whose speciality was the creation of turnovers. And like turnover differential has proven to be one of the like 4 or 5 key stats when it comes to determining like how well teams are doing in a certain year. So like the 5 key stats are turnover differential, how well you convert on third down, how well you prevent teams from converting on third down, red zone efficiency, and defense in the red zone. So like those 5 things, if you built a team surrounding with those ideas, you should be able to have a team that gets to the playoffs basically every year. So let's take a look at what we did here. We took Malachi Lawrence, Jacob Rodriguez, and Traden Stukes. Like I would say that those are 3 impact defensive players all in round 2. We then took Markel Bell, who's played left tackle, but I think would be better off at right tackle for the Lions. We traded up in the 3rd to go get him. And then we took running back 3, a really athletic wide receiver for no other reason that he's really athletic. And then a linebacker from a MAC school that is built like his MO is that he creates turnovers. So I think that if the Lions actually did this, I would be pretty happy with it coming out of the draft. So let's see. Brad gives dude an extension after a year and a half. No 5th-year options needed. Tigers are tied up bottom of the 9th. Oh, there we go. Let's go back. Let's go to ESPN here real quick. Who are they playing? MLB scores. Oh, they're playing the Brewers. Yeah, go Tigers. I would love them for them to pick up another win. Wins this time of year count just as much as wins like in June, So, I mean, coming out that McGonigal kid, huh? That kid just jumped right off the charts. And is that Dingler guy, is he also a rookie? I don't know the Tigers roster nearly as well as I should. Let me look him up here real quick. Dingler, 27. Whoa. Well, go Tigers. I just bought a Tigers shirt today, actually. So we've done several different scenarios here, right? Like that's what we kind of like to do on this channel is like the different scenarios. And one second. Oh, it is on 1080. What if I did this? Does that make it any better? No. So anyways, we've done several different scenarios here today. And, so there's this rumor from Jeff Risdon, the Lions are looking to trade up inside the top 10. We did a stick and pick, and then we did what it would look like if we traded down. And arguably, I traded down too far, right? So I expected one of the tier 2 tackles to be there at the top of round 2, and they weren't. They all went. So 5 tackles in the bottom half of the first round is a lot. Of all of those scenarios, I think I like the trade down one the best. But I also think it's probably the most unrealistic, given who I know is going to be making the decisions, which is, Brad Holmes, and Brad prefers to trade up in the draft, say. So we'll see. We'll just have to see. That's the fun of it. I believe let's get the all the logistics nailed down here. So it's going to start tonight at 8, I believe, right? Let's see. I think it starts at 8. It usually starts at like 8. And then it's gonna, so they're 8-minute picks in round 1. So it should be an hour shorter. So 32 picks at 8 minutes a piece. That's 240 minutes. That's what, 4 hours? Yeah. Calculator. So 32 times 8 minutes, 256 divided by 60 is 4.2 hours. Nice job, Torkelson. Hey, they just won? Nice. Oh, he homered to left center. Nice. Walk off. There we go. Good job, Tigers. That's excellent. That's excellent. Good job. So, let's see. Let's go to Google here. What time does the NFL draft start? Okay, so it's going to start tonight at 8, and it's going to go for about 4 hours. So it's going to end just after midnight. So what we will be doing is we will be having a live draft stream, we've done for the last couple of years, of the first round, with me, Mike, our friend Brian, and Mike and Brian's sons, Danny and Hayden. We are going to bet $1 on every pick, and then whomever's right, we divvy that up. And I've got my all 32 single dollars. I had a terrible year last year, so we'll just have to see how it goes. We would love it if you guys just even stopped by and said hi. It'll be right. We'll be streaming it on the channel, and we'll be ready for craziness, right? So try and have zero expectations, and it should be more fun. So, anyways, hope you guys are safe and you guys are having a great Thursday. Hope to see you tonight. Go Lions.